Good morning and welcome to all my YouTube subscribers. Sorry I haven't been very active, but we're trying to do a wisdom series. So today is Wednesday and we are seeking wisdom from the ancient book of wisdom, the Bhagavad Gita as it is. And this is an ancient book that helps us. It's a masterpiece of literature that is a spiritual literature that teaches us how to go beyond birth and death. Krishna is here, the person who is speaking the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna about the science of self-realization, teaching him how to live in the balancing his material duties, earthly duties, and the spiritual duties. And it is presented as it is, without any concoction, speculation. It's given purely as it is, in its purest form. So this is the famous book of wisdom that many people have read, great leaders, thinkers, Einstein, Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, to name a few, Martin Luther King, Oppenheimer, the person who made the atom bomb. He also read this book and quoted from it, Einstein, and many celebrities, Will Smith, the Beatles, pop stars. They've all read this very epic book to get wisdom from it. So we are reading, this is chapter 2, very relevant to today, our situation that we're in, the pandemic and the virus and death, loss, grief. How do we manage our emotions? How do we manage our mind? The mind is the critical factor here. How we manage our mind. Mind can be the greatest friend. It can also be the greatest enemy, according to Bhagavad Gita. How? Bhagavad Gita teaches us if we don't control our mind and channel it and source it in the correct place, spiritual consciousness, if we let it just remain in material consciousness, the mind can be our greatest enemy, because we will have to work against anger, greed, envy, pride, illusion, all these things which are on our, consciousness all the time. We're being bombarded. This society is made up of material. A lot of material consciousness is going out there. I, me, and mine philosophy. I am American, African, Indian, these designations. I am man, woman. All these designations that we have to deal with. Who are we really? Are we this body? Are we man, woman? Are we African, American, Indian? I, me, and mine, my house, my country, these are the ego. This is the ego, the false ego. So Bhagavad Gita teaches us the true ego, who we truly are, the science of self-realization. So today we're going to read chapter 2, verse 7, a very relevant verse about how to gain this spiritual knowledge and how to go beyond death. Death is the biggest dilemma here, especially in this pandemic. So let's read text 7. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava prijami tvam dharma samudacheta yakshayasya nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadimam tam prapanyam. So this is Sanskrit, a very purifying language. Mantras, made up of mantras. Mantra means to free the mind of negative energy, anger, envy, greed, all these things. So we'll read the translation. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of weakness. In this condition I am asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So this is Arjuna. He is wondering why he is faced with his relatives across the battlefield as enemies. He did not want to wage this war, but his relatives were adamant. Over what? A piece of land, kingdom, fighting over kingdom, land. So Arjuna was very perplexed. He was thinking, what do I do? They want to fight for this piece of land. He felt like walking away, leave it. But he didn't want to address what is his duty as a kshatriya, to protect the citizens. So let's see what Krishna says. So this purport: by nature's way, the complete system of material activities is therefore a source of perplexity for everyone. So this material world is a source of perplexity. In every step there is perplexity. Therefore it behooves one to approach a bona fide teacher who can give one proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. Many times we have experience of it, how we feel like we're losing the plot here. We're so confused with material demands on us, pulling us in all directions. You have to be so many roles you have to take: mother, father, husband, wife, citizen. We're so many demands on us that we get confused. What is the purpose? What is the aim of life? Is it to feed this body further and bodily consciousness, the I, me and mine principle, or is it something beyond that? Let's hear. So to approach a bona fide teacher, a master, for executing the purpose of life, all the Vedic literature advises to approach a bona fide spiritual teacher to get free from the perplexities of life, which happen without our desire. Sometimes we don't even desire, and calamities befall us, just like this pandemic. And they are like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. So this example is very, very graphic. It's like a fire that's just suddenly been set. We had so many fires last year in Australia, these forest fires. No cause of it. It just happens. So this is the material world. Calamities happen just out of the blue. Similarly, the world situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion. So here we are in the middle of pandemonium, madness. No one knows what to do, what's right, what's wrong. No one wants fire, and yet it takes place, and we become perplexed. The Vedic wisdom therefore advises that in order to solve the perplexities of life and to understand the science of the solution, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master who is in the disciplic succession. So this knowledge is handed down from master to student, handed down like that. So just like we go to a university and we're studying for a PhD, we don't concoct or speculate. We consult the body of knowledge that is in that university. So in the same way, when we approach spiritual subject matters, we approach a bona fide authority on it, which is the book, Bhagavad Gita, which is directly from Krishna, and we consult the teachers who can explain those texts to us. So here, Krishna is saying to solve these perplexities, one must approach a spiritual guide, a person with a bona fide spiritual teacher who should know everything. One should not remain in these material perplexities, but should approach a spiritual guide. This is the purport of this verse. So just like when we were born, we didn't know how to speak, our mother taught us, we need a teacher in every step of the way, even material knowledge. So who is the man in material perplexity? It is he who has not understood the problem of life. So there are so many problems, big problems, small problems, bills, this and that, demands. These are all problems and perplexities. But what is the root of all those problems? What is the main problem of life? So here he is saying that it is he who remains in this confusion is one who has not understood the problem of life, the main problem. The perplexed man is described like this. He is a miserly man. This is from the Garga Upanishad. Yova etad aksharam gargya aviditsvasmalam lokat preti sakripana. He is a miserly man, kripana, who does not solve the problems of life as a human and who quits this world like cats and dogs. So cats and dogs are also eating, breathing, mating, defending, sleeping, just like us. Do we wish to remain on that animal consciousness, or do we wish to elevate our consciousness and understand the science of self-realization? So this human form of life is most valuable asset for the living entity who can utilize it for solving the problems of life. So if we utilize this bodily intelligence, human intelligence, to solve the problems of life, it is correctly used. Therefore, one who does not utilize this is a miser. Someone who does not utilize his human intelligence to discover what is the science of self-realization. The Kripanas, or miserly people, waste their time in being overly affectionate for family, society, country. It's not saying we shouldn't have some affection to them, which is quite normal, but overly affectionate. So in the material concept of life, one is attached to family, namely wife, children, others, on the basis of body, skin disease, quote unquote, skin disease, this bodily identification, my wife, my country, when we don't realize that that person is actually another soul. We should relate to that person as soul to soul instead of bodily, my wife, my husband. The Kripana, the miserly person, thinks that he is able to protect his family members from death. Or the Kripana thinks that his family or society can save him from the verge of death. So here is the conundrum, the dilemma, that people think that they can protect their family members. It's a normal, natural instinct, just like animals also have that instinct. But can we, even the best medicine, even the best doctor, even the best hospital, still that person leaves this world? So can we really protect our family members from the inevitable death? Or can anyone, family, society, save us from the death? Now this pandemic is showing that. It is revealing that to us, that we can't save anyone really. Such family attachments can be found even in the lower animals who take care of their children. Even this virus vaccination has only 95% chance of protection. And even that, they have to have it every year. So you can see a tiny microorganism has caused chaos. There's no guarantee. Nobody can give us 100% guarantee. So here we are. Being intelligent, Arjuna could understand that his affection for family members and his wish to protect them from death were causes of his perplexity. So here he was, thinking that I will save them from this war, don't bother waging this war, I can save them from this inevitable death and just walk away. I don't want this kingdom, just walk away. But he was forgetting his actual Kshatriya duty to protect the citizens. If he left these corrupt family relatives, they would not just cause chaos, they would persecute other citizens. So he was perplexed. Should I fight them? They're my relatives, they're my uncles, my teachers. Should I be doing that? Or is it easier just to walk away? He was perplexed. What is his duty? Although he could understand that his duty was to fight, still on account of miserly weakness, he could not discharge his duty as a soldier, a Kshatriya, whose duty was to protect the citizens. He is therefore asking Krishna, the supreme spiritual teacher, to make a definite solution. He offers himself as a student, a disciple. He wants to stop the friendly talks, as cousin, as relatives. They were actually related. But talks between the master and student are very serious. So Arjuna wants to talk very seriously about this to his spiritual guide. Krishna is therefore the original spiritual master of the science of the Bhagavad Gita, and Arjuna is the first disciple. So we can see that this is a very serious subject matter. Life, death. What is my duty in a situation where I'm perplexed like this? And yet the foolish, mundane scholars, the people who are materialistically minded towards the Bhagavad Gita, they will explain it how? That we do not need to submit to Krishna as a person, but to the unborn within Krishna. So this is very impersonal. thinking that Krishna, the person who's speaking the Bhagavad Gita, is not a real person, just to the spirit within, the energy, the impersonal energy within, that's who we should be submitting to. But to the unborn, there is no difference between Krishna within and without. So Prabhupada is making this point. The commentator here says that there is no difference between Krishna within the Paramatma and Krishna standing there in person. And one who has no sense of this understanding is the greatest fool. So the person who speaks the Bhagavad Gita is a real person. He's not a myth or an allegorical character or an analogy or a symbol, which is what some mundane material scholars think, who see Bhagavad Gita in a very academic way. So here we have today's wisdom takeaway. The fact is, we must approach a teacher. The Bhagavad Gita is a supreme teacher because it comes from Krishna, and it has been handed down through the self-realized souls, the yogis who have realized it, understood it, and read it, and practically implemented it in their lives. So I hope that you can get this book. It's on Amazon, eBay, very easily available. Bhagavad Gita As It Is, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is the greatest expounder of Bhakti Yoga, Science of Self-Realization. And you can get this ebook as well on bbtmedia.com. So please make it available. And we will end today's session and see you again soon. Hare Krishna.